Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 108 for October 18th, 2023. I am Nemesis, and I am joined by Alcatraz.
Hello.
Yeah, the new fall season is upon us for anime. So new stuff's premiering, some old stuff is returning, all that stuff. One thing I did see in the news is apparently new Dragon Ball anime.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
Dragon Ball Daima. And it looks like it's Kid Goku again, because, I saw someone basically, it's just Dragon Ball GT again. Which that went well the first time, but...
Maybe they're gonna fix
maybe. One other thing that happened is, this was announced a while ago, but Right Stuff anime is now being folded into the Crunchyroll store, is now official.
It's done.
It's done. I had one last order sneak out before that happened.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it was a Love Live Nijigaseki Season 2, which I only got a Right Stuff anime because Crunchyroll was more expensive, despite the fact I have a premium Crunchyroll subscription.
Gotta love how that works.
But now they're claiming a bunch of the Right Stuff discounts are going to be at the Crunchyroll store, so we'll see if that actually holds true.
Yeah.
They do have competition considering everything on this stuff, considering it's a lot of it's goods and whatnot. They actually do have competition.
Yeah, there's a lot of places you can buy anime things, but not as many places to watch anime.
No, this is about the Right Stuff wasn't a streaming service. It was just a store.
they sold things. But yeah, there's a lot more competitors in the merchandise market, yeah.
So the other thing that happened was actually Yohane the Parhelion Blaze in the Deep Blue got a demo.
Yay!
It came out. Oh, it was a demo a while ago, but now it was a bit publicly available on Steam, actually.
Yeah.
Only Steam, weirdly enough. But I played it a little bit, and it sure is a Metroidvania. So I was it's one of those things that's like, it starts off pretty linear, and then, oh, hey, you beat the first boss, and oh, hey, just it opens up in the sense of, oh, look, all these paths you can't go to yet because you don't have the right stuff. And apparently some people have already figured out some sequence breaking. So like, speedruns are already viable. Speedruns are viable because someone got an item early and was able to explore an area you're not supposed to be able to explore in the demo.
Oops.
Because they were able to sequence break. Granted, they got to a point where a door just didn't open because there's nothing there because of the demo. But still, it looks good. I generally like it. The only thing is, combat is a little weird. I guess it's hard to explain. It's not bad. It's just kind of odd. Particularly it's very melee focused, which is not bad. Again, like Blasphemous, the game I really enjoyed, which has Metroidvania-esque stuff, is very much melee and it works really well. But this is kind of odd because of how it works. And you have a main weapon and a secondary weapon, and they can do different things. And but it's an interesting game so far. I'm glad. It seems interesting so far, and I'm gonna definitely probably enjoy the full thing. But the other thing was in this, rather than you for the most part, like a lot of Metroidvania stuff, it's like you pick up an item and that's your new ability. Here you find one of the other girls and they are the one who in charge of the ability. Like the only one you pick up in the game in the demo is Chica, and basically she has a cannon and she can use that to move large rocks that Yohane can't. So on and so forth. But you start off with Laylaps, who can talk, even though it's seemingly implied that the game takes place after the anime, but Laylaps is talking again.
Laylaps can talk again.
So I don't know. We shall see.
We shall.
All right, I shall see.
You shall.
I won't shut up about it probably. That's in
not.
About a month or so, but we'll see if I actually get it anytime soon because I ordered it from Japan because of the physical edition, and I also combined it with another order which may not come out till the end of the month, so we'll see. It might be a bit before I actually get to play it.
Yep. As long as you order like DHL or EMS shipping.
Yeah, it does. Again, it's coming out with I have it combined with another item, which may not come out for a bit longer.
I have to wait months to get my item because I was stupid and made it surface shipping.
You idiot! You absolute moron! But now you have to wait.
Yeah, I know. It's the second one that I've done surface.
Anyway. That's it for the anime news, I guess. Oh, I did watch the first episode of Spy Family Season 2, at least.
That did start airing.
And it was a fun one.
Yep. If it's anything like the first season, it's going to be great.
It was fun. Now, here to talk about that, we're here to talk about a different anime, of course. One we said last week, which is Parasyte the Maxim, or also known as Kiseiju Sei no Kakuritsu. It came out in 2014. It's fall of 2014 specifically. So at this point, it's about 9 years old.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, almost 9 years. Yeah, pretty much 9 years old. It's a horror actiony thing.
Yeah, it's less like stereotypical horror. I mean, there's monsters and gruesomeness, but it's not like horror.
Well, that's kind of...
It's not what I think of when I hear horror.
Right. Well, that's just you saying that like that, you're going to get horror fans up in a tizzy because horror is not a singular thing.
I know. It's a rather vague thing.
Before we get into it too much, I will say generally I enjoyed it, although I will say the middle kind of drags a bit. But generally I did kind of enjoy it, and there was a couple little things where I was like, it's like, oh, that feels a little forced, but there's a couple little problems here and there, but generally I think it was a good overall watch.
Yeah, I'll echo most of that. What sticks in my head right now is more of the ending that was like a little on, but overall, yeah, I enjoyed watching it. It was pretty good.
So yeah, the thing is, it's also based on a manga. Apparently, the anime cut out a lot from the manga, but it did because the manga was finished. They were able to actually, end the anime on the finale rather than having one of those anime where just pseudo open-ended ending, which is really satisfying things.
Yeah,
which is always frustrating. But yeah, in this anime, basically, spores come from space. They have parasites in them. They burrow into humans and take over their brains. Except for one guy, Shinichi Izumi, who the parasite attacked him but wasn't able to get to his brain and instead is stuck in his right hand. And the parasites eat humans. And that's basically the setting is he's unique because he has a parasite, but he's still himself. And he winds up kind of embroiled in this whole parasite thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the whole plot, really. Yeah, so the whole thing about that is like, it kind of this one thing I've noticed is the parasites, they don't really explain. They kind of, at least in the anime here, they bring up a lot about the parasite, the origin of the parasite, without actually committing to anything, really.
Right.
The only thing is they kind of seem to float in from space. We know they can't reproduce. For some reason, they are basically have human level intellect with like no empathy or sympathy. So there's like no morality there whatsoever.
Yep.
And their chief goal is to survive
and consume.
And to do that they have to consume and everything. But like, they can't reproduce or anything, which would imply they are artificially created. Because if you
something, or
at least
they
something,
had to come
at
from
least
somewhere.
At least something did something to them. Because no species just pops up that can't reproduce.
Yeah.
Then where did they come from?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Where'd the spores came out of the spores?
But they don't get into that at all, which is interesting to me. Is like it could be literally a man-made thing, some sort of weird experiment. It could be some alien species, but yeah, the implication would be they'd have to be artificially created some way. So that's interesting of itself, but the anime doesn't really touch on that.
Yeah.
Not really. He just kind of brings it up, but then doesn't do anything with it, which is a little frustrating. But
it is a little frustrating, but it's not really the point that it was trying to make.
Yeah, but it's like if you're not gonna touch on it, then just don't bother with that. If you're not, don't have any lines of dialogue about that sort of thing. If you're not gonna do anything with it,
Yeah, I do have some deeper thoughts on that one though. I don't know if we bring it up just yet though, because it kind of ties into like the message of the whole.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I know where you're going after that. Now, Shinichi Izumi, he's the main character, and he's like a kind of just a quiet, kind of shy kid, a little skittish, particularly like bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
He's not exactly a brave person.
Nope.
Has glasses, all that stuff. There's a girl
because that's what makes someone brave or not, is if they have glasses.
But in the anime, it does.
Yeah, it's a trope.
Yep. It's either glasses. Either the super smart guy, has to push up his glasses before explaining things to you, idiot, or he's a complete wuss.
Yep, or both.
Or both.
The nerd, the wimpy nerd.
Yep, the wimpy nerd.
Yeah.
It's just because anime. Because media shorthand for nerd is glasses.
It's not even just anime. You see it in Western all the time.
That's what I said, in media.
Yeah.
But there's a girl who's, he knows, and she's kind of clearly interested in him. Satomi Murano. She's there. That's the thing. For the most part, she's just there. And then actually, for a good chunk of it, she's not there. I'm a little disappointed with that part. It's just her. Here's a character. Her whole purpose is the love interest, and sometimes the moral compass. That's a little disappointing. I'm honestly, my opinion. Just she's not really much of a character.
She could have had a bit more development. She could have been cool.
Yeah, because as a character, how would you describe her? She's the girl, and that's pretty much the extent of it.
That's pretty much it. It's like I'm wondering if she's better in the manga
again. Yeah,
because there's enough in the anime to see she could be more. They kind of touch on a couple of things. It's like one of her, I guess, abilities.
Oh yeah,
they mention and then it's gone. Never comes up again.
Instead, there's another character that's more important for her.
Who's there for a long time and then gone.
Yeah. At least explainable.
Yeah. There's another one too.
Yeah.
There's a third.
Yeah. So the other thing, the parasite that gets into Shinichi, it takes over his right hand, and then is able to, it basically ate his right hand and large chunk of his arm as well. And because now it's able to, the parasites can morph and stretch and change and all they armor themselves or turn themselves into bladed weapons and all. They basically just change stuff.
Yeah.
Little bit of light body horror, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of body horror.
Anyway, the parasite shows up and starts. At first, it just kind of mumbles a couple half-formed sentences before going to sleep, and then it's all of a sudden it's reading a bunch of books and it's talking in full sentences. Yeah, because it learned a bunch of stuff real quick.
Yep,
because that's what the parasites do.
They develop real quick.
Anyway, we find out. Yeah, the parasites was very no nonsense. They don't do the emotions thing too much. They don't do any of this stuff. They're smart and they're gonna live.
Mm-hmm.
It's calmly explains to Shinichi, I was going for your brain, but I wasn't able to, mostly because apparently Shinichi more or less did a tourniquet.
A tourniquet with headphone cables.
Yeah. Normal. And it was able to stop that. But calling it a snake, though, I was like, that's not a snake. It looks more like a worm, if anything. But
whatever. I wonder if that's a translation.
The parasite was he's just I don't really think names are pointless, but whatever, just call me Migi. Because Migi means right.
Yep.
All right, fair enough, I guess. So that's the whole thing is, okay, because this Migi apparently doesn't need to actually eat people because it's able to survive off of just being attached to Shinichi.
Yep. As long as the host is alive, it just uses the resources of the host body.
This ends up being sometimes a lot of arguments between the two of them because Migi's, because of the situation might have been, Migi was like, do this, and Shinichi's like, no, that's horrifying. And it's I don't understand.
Yep.
You should just fight here where there's a whole bunch of people to basically be meat shields. No, I'm not going to use my classmates as meat shields, Migi.
Why not? It's better for your own survival.
I don't know how to explain to you. You should care about others.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty much that's actually the chunk. I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people.
Yep. He doesn't even care about his own kind either. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
The complete lack of morals.
Most of them just don't care about their own kind because whatever. It's if I have to kill another one of my own kind to survive, so be it.
Yep. It's all about just personal survival.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least initially. And then there's other parasites, and they wind up fighting them in part because the parasites can sense each other, and sometimes it's okay because
they're on the same wavelength.
And on top, there's this whole thing. Sometimes the parasites wind up fighting each other. It's just because it's two predators want to have the same prey spots. One's going to be
disputes or whatnot,
and particularly with this is hey, the humans. Oh no, there's a lot of murders going on suddenly.
Yep,
really nasty, gruesome ones too.
Really gruesome ones.
What do they call them? There's something
mincemeat murders.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it was something alliterative.
Yeah, it's the mincemeat murders because the victims are turned into
mincemeat.
Just unidentifiable human remains.
Viscera.
Yep.
Yum. Anyway, So that's the big thing is there's lots of parasites that pop up. Shinichi has to wind up fighting them with Migi. Just if anything, just Migi's helping Shinichi just because it's in Migi's best interest to keep Shinichi alive, and that's a large chunk of it for a long time. Just Shinichi needs to stay alive so I can stay alive, and that's the extent of how much Miki cares about Shinichi.
Yep.
At one point, they also wind up getting a teacher, Ryoko Tamiya, who turns out is also a parasite. And she's a very crafty one. Like, even among the parasites, she's pretty darn smart.
Mm-hmm.
And she has ambitions beyond just survival. She also poking, prod experiment to the point like she even got herself pregnant.
Yep.
With a fully human baby because the parasite part is just the head.
Yep.
She's an interesting character because she's, I think, the first one to really show some traits that aren't common for the parasites.
Yeah, like beyond basic animal instincts.
Yeah. She's the first, she actually shows like an interest in like, okay, what happens if I try to have a child?
Yep.
At first, she's very callous about it. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm thinking, I want to see what happens. And then, if it winds up being useless, I'll just kill it.
Yep.
It's like, wow.
Yep.
It just does really illustrate the idea that, yeah, again, they're not human.
Yeah, they are not human. Why should they obey human morals?
And that's one thing. One of the things I like about it actually is some of the horror does not come from, it's scary big monster with blades or, no bunch of blood and gore and whatnot. The horror, it does happen, but some of the horror is just the behavior. This creature that looks human but isn't human.
Yeah,
that's always
uncanny.
I love that. That's always loved that sort of thing. Like her, like the way she treats the kid once the baby is born, right? Like, she even hires a sitter or a nanny or whatever, and like, the baby's crying. She gets home and she just grabs it by the head and says, "Quiet," and just stops crying. And it's like, oh, that's just uncomfortable because that shouldn't work.
Yeah. Train the child well.
And then that's the thing. It's like, or the mother of the because the parasite took over the parasite assumed the identity of the person, right?
Right.
The mother shows up and then immediately goes, you're not my daughter. Where is she? Like almost immediately.
Mm-hmm. Because they're able to recognize that you're not acting right.
Yeah, and because
they're really.
Because a lot of the parasites run afoul of the uncanny valley.
Yeah, because they don't know emotions.
Or if they do try, it looks
wrong. They come across
weird.
Really stoic and cold.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who knows a person will recognize that you're not acting right.
Yeah, like, and one of the things we saw was, her trying to laugh and just looks so wrong.
Yep, or their eyes tend to not focus correctly.
Yeah, that sort of thing. It's just, it's that whole thing. It's like, the uncanny valley is a big thing, and that's actually, it's genuinely uncomfortable a lot of times. Like, one of the things was, like, she just met some rando and parasite rando was like, yeah, we had a kid together.
Mr. A, I believe, yeah.
And then, he gets killed because he then goes after Shinichi. Cause a whole incident there, and that's Then that's the weird thing is like for a while the parasites are just unknown, and then they like the government's like parasites are a thing, and we got to take care of it.
Yeah.
As time goes on, it's like they become increasingly aware of them and trying to take care of them, and then taking more extreme measures to take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. There is just seeing that the response they have is like there will be human life lost, and we're just going to have to accept that because we need to, it's the, acceptable losses.
Yeah, acceptable losses was that needs of the many.
Yep.
But also playing up the fact that not all humans are great either.
Yeah. That whole thing it's the whole thing there too. There's another girl, because at one point Shinichi there's I guess a bunch of delinquents who beat the crap out of Shinichi at one point.
Yep. Because
they're beating crap out of one of his classmates, and then the girl there kind of took an interest in him, Kana Kimishima. Yeah, she kind of takes an interest in him, and then more of an interest as time goes on, because things happen and whatnot. But yeah, she takes an interest in him, and it turns out she can sense
something.
The parasites in a sense. But so can Satomi, the girl who's the other girl, but not as hard. As Kana's is more honed and whatnot. Somehow. It's just stronger. And then she's able to even give off a signal of her own, which, doesn't go well. Then she goes bad. Yeah. But Kana takes an interest in Shinichi because at first she's like, "Oh, this is somehow I can sense my soulmate, right?"
Yep, because she has no idea what she's sensing.
Because she just senses it around Shinichi, and then she starts sensing it around people and gets confused, and then there's the whole parasite thing becomes public, and
and then she goes and runs off to that one place.
Mm-hmm. Shinichi's like, "Stay away from people you can sense that from," and then
like, but no, it's you. I'm not.
Yeah, she just assumed that because they met there before that that was him, and then it was just another parasite, and then she gets killed.
And she gets killed.
Yeah,
right in front of Shinichi.
Yeah,
too.
Shinichi's. Yeah, then.
Oh boy, the retaliation of that one. That was
because that's the other thing was oh god, the one of the more heart wrenching ones was Shinichi. At first, is a little worried about his parents because they were like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna go on a little vacation."
Yep, but all these murders.
But yeah, don't worry, it's there in the countryside. It'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
but of course, by just sheer coincidence, one of the parasites takes over his mom. Yeah, Shinichi's mom is taking over a parasite because there's a whole thing there where the parasite was in a woman with a guy. They get in a car crash because the parasite was not wearing the seatbelt. Because I don't understand the purpose of this device.
Right.
Launch the window. The woman's body's like, okay, transfer over the guy. Again, I can't do this. For some reason, got so acclimated to the woman's body. It's like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Right. So then
the whole thing
takes over, then attacks parents and takes the mom's body. It takes Shinichi's mom's body.
Dad fortunately survives, barely, but survives.
Yeah. And then the mother, and that body comes home, and then, Shinichi has a bit of a
he has
meltdown.
A bit of a breakdown.
Because it's mom, but it's like he knows,
but can't accept.
Because with me, he's like, hey,
that's not her.
Hey.
That's not her. That's not her. You know this. That's not her. But he couldn't. He couldn't accept it. And
gets stabbed in the heart.
Yep. Or skewered.
Yeah, and then Migi keeps Shinichi alive via kind of embedding himself into the chest cavity and replacing his heart.
And acting as the heart for a while.
Yeah. And then, because of that, bits of Migi remain in Shinichi's body, and because of that, then Shinichi more or less is, peak human performance.
Yeah, superhuman, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't need glasses anymore. He can run basically faster than a Olympic sprinter.
He can keep up with cars on the road.
Yeah, he was able to jump, what was it, a 3-meter wall vertically or something like that?
Jump out of a 5-story school building while carrying someone else and be fine.
So on and so forth. He can actually now, because the parasites can also move fast. Because before it's Migi had to do all the work. Now it's he can actually dodge and his stuff himself. And then on top of that,
all the senses are super increased: sight, hearing, smell.
Yeah, all that stuff. And because little bits of Migi are now in his body, which then becomes a big, huge thing for him too.
Yeah,
that's the thing. When Kana died, he actually just punched a hole in the parasite's chest with his non-Migi hand.
Yeah, that was you knew he was pissed, and Migi was also a bit surprised when he just went, Migi, handled the defense. That was it. Just handle the defense.
Yep.
And then just went in and just one-shot the other parasite.
Yeah. That's a big thing right there. Is that actually winds up being a big thing for not just the physical change, but for Shinichi, this all culminates because he's getting freaked out about whether or not he's still human.
Mm-hmm.
Because that being told, oh yeah, there's bits of Migi just floating around inside his head and whatnot, and probably in his head too.
Yep.
He's is this messing
weird dream sequences?
Yeah. And it's freaking him out because he's now struggling with this whole, because on top of that, because Migi has replaced his heart can calm down really easily because the whole survival thing.
Right.
His heart, basically in an intense situation, he can calm himself down so quickly that it's like he just doesn't feel the emotions as strong, and it's freaking him out. Of course, it turns out there's actually a whole other explanation for that, which is you never properly dealt with your mother's death.
Yep.
Not emotionally anyway. You just kind of in part because of the whole. He just kind of moved on.
Yeah, he never actually dealt with it.
Didn't deal with it until much later.
Didn't really get a chance. He showed up, got skewered, and then was lying on the floor trying not to die for days.
Yeah.
Not weeks.
Yeah, but it was that became a thing where he kind of became much more cold and distant, and Satomi was freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically it became a whole thing. Is you're not Shinichi.
Yep. Are you still Shinichi? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that became a whole thing. And I'm like, I pegged pretty quickly. Yeah, it's because he's not dealing properly with his death of his mother.
It's
That's
trauma.
the big thing. It's just us undealt with trauma.
Yeah.
And that's what's really affecting him. You're not becoming inhuman. You're just shutting down everything so that you don't feel.
Yeah, this is
pain.
This is things that happen to normal humans, by the way, when they go through trauma.
Maybe not the instant calm down, but that's a
I wouldn't be surprised. Because at this point, that's leaning into dissociation
a little bit. But regardless of the physical, you could just kind of sit there for a second and heart stop, rapid beating.
Yeah, maybe not that quickly because that helps because he has enhanced physical capabilities
physiological change. And that's the other thing. Miguel went through a physiological change after that because now Miggy has to sleep for 4 hours a day for reasons.
Yeah, they didn't really explain that one very well. Just, I guess, because he's not complete. Parts of Miggy are missing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting in itself. It's just a large chunk of it is just him freaking out about not being human anymore. And I'm just like, you're not dealing with your trauma. You need to deal with your trauma.
And it takes a random fortune teller on the street to make him deal with it eventually.
Kind of push him in the right direction, and then because the other thing was that his dad I noticed I was a little worried about that. His dad started drinking a lot afterwards because that was a weird thing because like his dad knew the mom was dead, but like at first was like, no, officially she's missing.
Can't accept it.
That was just a weird nightmare I had. She's missing, and then he knew full well.
But can't accept it.
Eventually, he does accept it.
Eventually.
But officially, the mother is the mother is missing.
Yeah.
But, they both knew full well what happened. Eventually, it's like, there's a whole thing where it's like a bunch of the parasites seem to be like, they're running for office?
Yep.
That's a whole thing.
They're starting to work together now.
They're working together, which is unusual, but they're doing it because, we need to work together because the humans are onto us now.
Yep. I wanted to use political control to secure feeding grounds, basically.
Mm-hmm. And Ryoko was a big part of that.
Yep.
Eventually, I remember there's a schism in the group.
Yep. Kind of a split. They think she's becoming too human. Some of them do.
She's there. Some of them the thing was that she's a threat to our survival because she's just not playing along fully.
Yeah. And some about her getting soft or whatnot because of the child.
Yeah. We're seeing that's one of the big first signs is like I think she
at the point that the schism happened. It's not that I don't think she's fully realized yet.
Yeah, but we're seeing bits and pieces of like her and the kid.
Yep.
One thing that was interesting, she was able to split herself in half and like.
Yeah.
One part's still controlling the human body. The other part's like burrowed into one of the other parasite bodies and fought it within the inside. And there's a whole thing there with, half a head laughing.
Yeah, that was creepy.
And it's like, there's nothing inside my head. Splits it open, freaks them out.
Yep.
But that culminates with the whole thing in the park where she gets Shinichi in the park and like she has the baby and she realizes, I actually care about this baby. After, particularly because she hired a private investigator to follow Shinichi and whatnot, and then he caught on to stuff, and because Shinichi transformed and everything.
Yeah.
And he got mad. He knew that they're the parasites, and the parasites killed his family because he was a loose end, and because his family, but not him because he would just happen to not be home at the time. So he kidnaps her baby, and he's like, basically like, I'm going to throw the baby off this cliff because, you won't even care, right?
Right.
He probably wasn't actually going to do it.
Yeah.
But he's like, if I threw the baby off the cliff, you wouldn't even care. And she just stabbed him. And she's like, why did I do that? And then to the realization,
because you do actually care.
I care about this child. And then hands the child over to Shinichi, of course, being shot at.
While under a barrage of bullets.
They knew who she was at this point. They knew she was a parasite, and they're just shooting at her while she's,
Yep.
And then when she hands it, that was finally when this dam broke for Shinichi, and crying and everything.
Finally found his tears again because he hadn't cried since death of mother.
Yep, the whole mom thing.
And then the mom gives you the baby, who is never seen again.
Yep. Just put in the Japanese foster system, which I've heard is apparently nightmarish. But yeah, it's that's a thing where he finally was able to deal with it. And yeah, after that point, he's a lot less cold. He's more himself again. Just in time for the end.
Just in time for
That's just in time for things to get worse.
Yeah.
The other thing was, yeah, that was one of the things to illustrate it was like his weird, like, the way his mind was going was like the bit with the puppy.
Oh, the bit with the puppy.
Yeah, like, okay, he found a puppy who like got hit by a car. Migi's like, yeah, its internals are all messed up. It's not gonna live. There's nothing we can do. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna just kind of hold the puppy to keep it warm and keep it comfortable as I can until it's gone. And Satsumi's like, oh,
that's so. At first,
because she's getting concerned about him, right? She's concerned about him because he's been acting weird.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, good, he's still him. And then he just after the puppy's dead, and she's like, oh yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean, we were waiting.
And then he just throws it in the trash.
Just tosses it in the trash can.
And she's like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yep.
You don't do that. He's, well, it's dead. Just
it's dead. Yeah.
Something very pragmatic, and she's not surprised. People get freaked out when you don't treat the dead nicely.
Yeah, like that's not great.
When you just throw the corpse into the hole, or throw the corpse into the landfill.
Yeah, not.
So yeah, and eventually he's like, oh, after she's gone because she's horrified, and he's like, oh, and then he took the puppy and actually buried it under a tree, which is like, oh, there you go.
That you should have done the first time.
He realized, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole thing there. But then, there's then the whole end thing with the super strong multi-parasite.
Goto.
Yeah, Goto. But yeah, they had this. That was again Ryoko's one of her little experiments, and like, just combine multiple parasites into one body, and hey, look, it's this unstoppable killing machine, right?
Yeah, well, basically.
Yeah, and it's just like they discovered that because like, it was chasing it because Migi's like, oh, there's 3 of them, and wait, no, there's more than them because I only sense 3 because it's supposed to be one unified force.
I think it was like 5.
Yeah, 1 for each limb essentially,
basically.
And they could morph and do all this stuff, and it's basically because of this you can't really kill them because it can now armor itself up and it's super strong and fast and even Shinichi can't stop it. And there was a whole thing where there's a task force at the building. They're gonna wipe all these parasites, and
I was like one of the city buildings because it also involved the newly elected parasite mayor and his group, and
and then they also had there was also a serial killer who could.
There's also the serial killer
who could sense the parasites, although he got caught only because he happened to be in a parasite feeding ground, and there's a bulb that hadn't cleaned the bodies yet.
Yep.
So that's the only reason he got caught initially.
Gummy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there's also that weird scene with the bringing people in for it to look at him and everything.
Yeah, that whole thing is they're testing his ability.
Yeah, that's not the weird part. He's saying, we brought a beautiful woman from you, and then he starts jerking it.
Oh, that scene.
It's like, oh, okay. And they're like, stop him! Someone should probably stop him. Yes.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care that they're watching.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He kind of like, it's like being in prison for this long. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, but there's a whole thing that's all in the building, and like it kind of goes wrong because all the parasites catch on, but then like they realize, well, first, they're not going to shoot their people. Oh, yes, they will. They will in fact shoot other humans. It means killing us.
Yep. Especially that one military leader dude.
Yeah.
Just did not care.
Just shoot. Just shoot them.
Yep.
If they move, shoot them. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because they wised up because they had the whole setup for the scan. Because look, there's just no skeleton. There's no skull. So that's the parasite. Right?
Yes.
And then the parasites figured it out, and then they broke it, and then just wound up becoming all right. Change of plans.
Yep. Basically, just turned into a giant war zone.
And then the Goto there just started killing them like crazy because
no one could hurt him.
They just shot him a bunch, and he just shot the bullets back.
He just collected them and then flung them back. Yeah.
And that was what was interesting because they had this whole thing was like the mayor is on as a parasite, and then they finally confront the mayor and they shoot him, and he's
not a parasite.
Human.
Yep.
He just worked with the parasites because of what he believed in, which becomes a big thing for the land. It's the end bit, and it's this is where it's introduced kind of early on, vaguely, and then here it's like they become kind of a little weirdly forcibly inserted into the narrative, I feel.
The
environmental thing.
Oh yeah, that the environmental, and I guess like I mentioned earlier, the overall message.
Yeah, I get it. But I get what you're getting at, but I feel like you're wrong.
Yeah. Humans are the disease. Yep. Basically,
humans are the real parasites.
Humans are the real parasite, and these parasites are the natural result.
They're the cure.
Balance. Yeah.
They're the cure for the disease as humanity.
It
is a very cynical thing, which it's like there's been a lot of stuff talking about, because one of the big things is overpopulation, right? It's culling the herd, right? It's like that's not a problem actually. Overpopulation is not really a problem.
The only problem with overpopulation is the fact that our logistics is BS due to capitalistic BS. We have plenty of food to feed everyone. Just need to get it to people.
Yeah, because it's cheap. Well, just throw it away, because why would we give it to people that should pay for it?
That, and just let other people suffer so that we can have things even cheaper.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, it's just that thing, because you see that, grocery stores just, oh, well, we have this extra food and it's going to expire in a couple of days. We probably toss it out. Well, why can't we give it to the homeless? No, throw it away.
Yep.
We can't have people expecting free food.
Yep. That and liabilities, but yeah.
It's just wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the basic. It's a cynical thing of like, yeah, he was like, the mayor worked with him because, well, he's like, oh, humans are bad, and we need to get rid of a lot of humans, so I'm going to let you guys, get rid of a bunch of humans, and it's like, it's funny just seeing this particular message coming from Japan of all places. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah,
Japan's population problem is the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big thing, and then okay, so Goto gets onto Shinichi's case, and he's like, oh, I'm going to die.
Yep.
There's nothing I can do. I tried. I'm trying my best, and only reason I survived is he just kind of walked away.
Yep, he was tired.
Because he was tired, and it's like, I'm just going to die. And it's funny. I find this funny. So him and Satomi have gone back together, because it's clear that they're kind of separated after Satomi was horrified by Shinichi's behavior, but after he kind of got back to normal, she got back with him.
Yeah, after the events of Ryoko and the park and the baby.
So yeah, he's like, I'm going to die. And then he and Satomi have sex. And I just find it funny that after that, he's like, no, actually, I'm going to live. It's like, that's what it took. No. He was all resigned to the fact he's going to die. But once he had sex, all of a sudden, no, wait, actually, I need to live. I need to live. I just find that funny.
It is kind of funny.
But then, yeah, he winds up finding Goto in the forest because he tries to run away. And then Migi dies because Migi's trying to... There's a whole thing. We see Migi's behavior is kind of... A lot of Migi's dialogue at this point is kind of become like, this sounds like you're trying to convince yourself aren't like a human.
Yep. You rubbed off on each other.
Yeah.
Shinichi got kind of cold and calculating, and Migi found emotions.
Yeah, Migi got emotions and like, oh, I actually think of Shinichi as a friend.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually care.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, Migi separates himself from Shinichi and tells him to run, and it's like, yeah, Migi dies. And then turns out, actually, no, Migi was just absorbed into Goto until Shinichi came back. Except for there's a little bit of Migi also left in Shinichi. And
yeah, because a little bit's left all throughout him.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole thing, and they reunite, and Migi's... Yeah, I just like Migi was like, yo. Kind of, hey,
I'm back.
This But yeah, they're able to defeat Goto because they're able to outsmart him.
Yeah, but also just kind of luck.
Yeah, and a bit of luck too.
A bit of luck. A giant garbage pile of luck.
Yep.
That just happened to be there.
Well, they had mentioned that it was
they
brought up earlier.
Explained it, but it's still like...
Illegal dumping, right? Again, the environmentalism thing.
Right, but huge mountain piles of it. Yeah. Just, okay.
Yep. And there was a rusty pipe in there.
A rusty pipe. Yep.
And there was because they found that there's a hole in the armor, and they're able to have the pipe in, and that was a part of the reason why Migi was able to get out, was because basically the system was collapsing.
Yep, because the garbage heap poisoned through the pipe,
and it freaked out the parasites enough that Goto, the main parasite, was having a hard time controlling all of them, and there we go.
Yep.
So anyway, they were able to defeat him, and he exploded.
And he exploded.
He just exploded. And then that was a weird thing at the end. Okay, so he exploded, and then Migi's like, actually, I think he's still alive and trying to reform himself. And it's like, okay, there it is. We see him kind of trying to reform. And Migi's like, I'm not going to kill him. You can kill him if you want, but I'm not going to do it. Because at this point, Migi's got a bit of, actually seems to have some sort of degree of morality now. Inconveniently now.
Of all times.
Of all times you get morals, when I need you to kill something, that's when you get a moral. Figures. Anyway, but yeah, so at first Shinichi's like, yeah, I need to kill it. Actually, what, and then has his whole big old monologue, what right do I have, and blah, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
just
blah.
life trying to survive.
So I'm just going to leave it alone. And then he goes, actually, no, I'm going to kill him.
I think Migi makes him realize, like, if you don't do it, you're gonna die.
Well, he said that prior, but then it's like, because Biggie's like, he has a 50-50 shot of surviving.
Oh no, I think it wasn't him. You remember Satomi and others like, oh, we're gonna kill them too. Okay, that's different now.
Yeah, he's like, I have no right, and he has a 50-50 shot. Just let it lie, and then he's
let
like,
nature decide.
And then he's like, actually, no, I'm gonna. It's almost like I'm part of nature, so I get. So never mind. It's just fun. I'm gonna kill him. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I just found that kind of funny. Just kind of.
Yeah.
I guess that's a way to wrap things up, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Migi says, I'm going to go to sleep now.
I'm going to go to sleep.
Possibly forever.
Deep sleep, long sleep.
Yep. Because I want to think about some things.
They have a lot of things to think about.
And that was that. And then we cut to epilogue episode, I guess, with the end with like, it's a few years later.
And Origami shows up again.
Shinichi and Satomi are together.
Yep.
Oh, hey, there's the serial killer. He escaped, and now he's after Shinichi because he knows who Shinichi is, right? And he's able to grab Satomi. Yeah, this is the whole thing. And then it looked like Satomi's going to die. And I was like...
Going to fall off.
Going to fall off. Nope. Migi's there. It's like, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's that thing where we see the meat in the, like, the head space, I guess.
Yep.
And then Migi's there. It's like, oh, by the way, my arm's getting... I'm not going to hold her up anymore. I'm getting tired, so you need to kind of come in here. What? Oh, there's Satomi.
Got her.
Because it's a whole thing. It's like...
yeah.
I was like, a part of me was like, I swear to God, if you have, after all that, we have this really just downer ending, I'm going to be so mad.
It also would have been kind of funny, but...
I would be so mad. This is this pointless downer ending.
There is a little bit of a... Did Satomi see Migi extend the arm? Because it's like, it's pretty obvious that had to do it like the noodle arm stretch to
we
grab.
Don't see it.
Basically, like, what's his name from Fantastic Four?
Oh yeah, Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic and stretch arm. Basically,
yeah.
Obviously, I had to do that, but it didn't actually show that. And he's like, "Oh, did you see that? Did I catch her in time?"
Also, he's got a knife in his arm at this point.
Huh?
He got a knife in his arm at this point.
Oh yeah, because Uragami had a knife to her neck.
Yeah. Else he killed like two people who were just in the wrong spot.
Yeah, they were like making out on the roof.
Yeah, and they showed up and then he stabbed them both and
sliced their necks.
Because Shinichi and Satomi were just kind of lying there. It's like the people discovered the bodies that they were dead too.
Bodies. Yeah, I don't think we're dead too.
They think we're dead.
That's funny. It's like, yeah, let them think you're dead. It's fine. It's not like they're gonna hurt you. You're safe now. Other than the fact that you have a knife in your arm and you're likely to bleed out.
Oh.
It hit an artery.
It didn't look like it hit one though, because it wasn't really bleeding.
Missed it. Fortunately, it was just a stab and possibly missed it.
It's only a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. That is a pretty metal way of dealing with a knife attack, though. Just screw it. Just take it to the arm.
Yep.
Just stick it straight through the arm. Rip the knife out of your hand using my arm.
Yep.
It's not a mortal wound.
And punch him really, really hard.
Yeah, with his extra strength.
Yeah, I mentioned that it was kind of waning at that point.
Yeah, but still had a bit. That's why he was able to do what he did.
Yeah. But yeah.
You remember, I still have strength and speed.
There's a whole thing there that I feel like one thing is the environmental message really felt really forced.
It did feel forced, kind of tacked in.
I really don't like the direction it took it. That is not one I'm really a fan of. The whole, humans are parasites and,
Like, the way they could have kept that but made it better is use that as the justification for the parasites doing what they do, but show that the parasites are wrong. Because that's common, that's their justification. The parasites think that they are the cure. Like that worked great for a villain.
Yeah, like Mr. Smith.
We got to show that they're the villain.
Like Agent Smith.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it feels like that's the idea. Is just it feels, I don't know. It kind of feels a little mixed at the end. Like I'm muddled a little.
Yeah.
Like it almost like kind of we puts the author put the idea out there and then kind of walked it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like that doesn't. It feels really forced. On top of that, I was talking about this earlier. The pacing, it really drags for a while. To be honest,
The middle is a little bit dragging.
like once you get to like episode, I want to say 10 or so, and then all the way to like I would say like 16 or 17. It's like, ugh, why is this going so slow? And then all of a sudden you get to the end and it's like boom,
bunch of stuff just kind of happens.
Like the last 4 or 5 episodes just bam, 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 bam.
Yep. And the very ending, there's a couple parts in there that felt kind of Deus Ex-y.
Yeah. A little bit.
And I was just like, all right, that's a thing now. And then a little bit anticlimactic, too.
At times, yeah.
It's like,
That's a big thing.
Okay, that's it. That's the end.
On top of that, for me, it was also that they had a lot, and this is, I'm not sure if this, I think this sometimes just pops up in anime in general, which is, there was a lot of conversations where it just was the same thing iterated over and over again. Remember, Migi's like, oh yeah, remember Shinichi, I'm not human. I don't have emotions. Yes, we know, Migi.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have to make sure the audience knows these things, so they repeat it over and over. And that's part of the reason it kind of drags out, because we're just hammering this home over and over again.
Right.
And on top of my other thing is just Satomi's just it's a character that just exists.
And again, I'm wondering how much is different in the manga.
Yeah.
Especially with Satomi, because again, she can sense things, sort of. The only hint we really get of that is, when they first hold hands and she doesn't like the right hand, so she goes over to the left because there's something weird.
Yeah, because she can sense these things, and then she goes, and they don't really do anything with it. That's the
and then that's it. But yeah, so I'm wondering, it's like she could have been more, especially after the park scene with the baby and Ryuko. Like, okay, now obviously she knows about parasites because she just watched one get shot.
No, it's public knowledge because they had this whole thing. Hey, pull your hair, each other's hair, because
that was like partial knowledge. It was like,
well, yeah, but they made it clear that the parasites are a known thing now.
Right. I remember when in the scene where they talked about the pulling the hair, that they were trying to get people to do that without really acknowledging that, hey, there are parasites, to try and get this weird like halfway thing. But then it became pretty obvious later. Yeah. But yeah, the park scene, like Satomi literally, okay, there's a dead one. You watched it die and then shrivel up. You really can't.
Yeah.
So it's like she could have been more included in the happenings after that point, and then she just kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's a lot of characters that we haven't actually mentioned.
Because
there's a lot of people. There's just so many. Yeah, there's a couple. There's at least two that I wanted to point out. One we hadn't touched on, Uda, who's the other parasite like Shinichi.
Well, he's not a parasite. He has a parasite like Shinichi does.
Yeah.
Which is he still has his brain.
Yep, because he got divorced and he was going to commit suicide and then decided against it, but that's when the parasite hit him right in like the chest or whatnot, and then fell off the cliff.
The parasite was like, oh, I need to keep this body alive, and then wound up having to
take over the chest and throat and mouth instead of the brain to be a snorkel to keep him alive. So I ended up in the same situation as Shinichi, and those two became kind of friends and whatnot. Someone like me. There is, however, another character that I'm really, really bugged about. I believe it was Yuko Tachikawa.
Yeah.
The girl who figures out things. The one parasite who ends up in the school. Shimada.
Yeah.
She figures it out, finds a useful way to deal with them, like with turpentine or paint, hits him with it, and does all that, jumps out the window to save herself, and we never see her again.
Yes, we do. She just pops up.
She's never important again after that point.
But she's there.
It's just like...
You're acting like she disappeared, but she was still there.
She was there, but like that was a critical thing, like paint thinner, the acid.
Yeah, well, what it did was
comes up again.
It made it so he couldn't like transform himself anymore, but now he's just kind of reacting, which made him a little more dangerous in a sense too.
Yeah, but like it could have also been useful on other parasites. But nope.
Yeah, it was a weird thing where it's like, again, there's a lot of weird like dead end things too.
Yeah.
There was the detective who knew Shinichi was involved. It's like there was something important. He's missing the critical information, which is Shinichi has a parasite, but he just knows somehow Shinichi's involved in all this because he keeps popping up in all these things.
Hirama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a thing where it's like, that doesn't wind up going anywhere really.
There's a lot of little, and again, it makes me wonder how much of it is more in the manga.
There's a lot. That's the thing, because that's a 24 episode anime, and you think that's enough, and it kind of is. It tells a story, but it does. It's weird too, because a large chunk of it drags a really long time too. So you think maybe that time would have been better spent on some other things,
something else. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-off characters, or they're there for a couple episodes and then just stop being important after that, or whatever. They just like there's the guy, the delinquent Mitsuo, who was interested in Kana, and then he just stopped being important once Kana died.
Yep.
And even then, he's only mostly important just because he was a guy who beat up Shinichi, and then Shinichi was able to beat him because well, he had the superhuman abilities now.
Yeah.
So it's a
common thread here, is characters popping up and disappearing.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like it's just a lot of characters don't do a little bit. It's like make one important thing and then just never really do anything else. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess. And again, Satomi was like, I'm just really frustrated with that one, just because it's like she's just there for so much of it. She doesn't really do much. We don't really learn much about anything about her, really. And she's just there just to be, just to go, what's wrong with Shinichi?
Yep.
Oh, there's another character who, she was there to just, I don't know, just to be boy crazy, I guess.
Oh, that one. Akio
Yeah.
Suzuki.
She also said something really insensitive at one point, wow.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here, but there's definitely a couple tripping points, I guess. The anime trips over itself, and
the animation and the action scenes and such like that are
one other thing I wanted to
good.
criticize was the weirdness with the music.
That was the next one I was going to bring up, was the music.
The music is it's not the music itself is bad. The music is actually pretty good and stuff I would actually possibly listen to, except it's often used very poorly.
Yeah.
It's like, this music does not fit the scene. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's just awkward.
Why are we doing
choices.
dubstep here?
Yep.
Why is this weird saccharine piano music here? I don't understand what you're trying to do here. Sometimes in particular, I felt like I don't know who the composer is. I don't know. It's almost like, did you just grab some stuff off a royalty-free website and just slap it in your anime?
Yeah.
Without any real care? Because that's what almost it feels like.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out, this was done by Madhouse.
They have quite the
yes, as we have mentioned multiple times now. Overlord. Oh, that thing, level 99. You should. Oh, that's the one I've been hearing a lot. So no Frerin. That's a new one. I've been hearing a lot about that recently. Tactop Destiny, of course. Yeah, but they have a fairly significant. Oh yeah, the Place Further in the Universe.
Yes, that one. Yep.
Oh, Avengers. Oh, okay.
Yep. One Punch Man.
Yeah. So they have a fairly. Yeah, and this is one of the things. It looks good for the most part. Particularly a lot of the Parasyte stuff looked good. I mean, some of it is as you clear, it's just the things are moving fast. It's moving too fast for you to see animations. So it's just kind of the same 3 frames, but that's common.
Yeah, that's.
But a lot of the morphing stuff and whatnot was looked good. One thing I never really liked was Migi's really realistic lips. I never liked that.
Yeah.
But then again, I think maybe that's kind of the point.
It might be the point to be really just kind of weird and uncanny.
It's just the lips are disturbing because everyone else has anime mouths, but nope, not Migi. Nope, Migi
very
has
large,
lips.
very. Yeah. All right.
Please stop. But yeah, overall, definitely I think worth a watch. It's actually pretty decent. I don't like the end, the environmental message that they concluded on was not one I was really a fan of, and also felt really forced, and the endings just feel a little fast, and the middle feels real slow. But other than that, it's pretty good.
It is. I don't regret watching it. It was fun for the most part.
Wasn't quite what I was expecting, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think I was expecting to lean more into the, I don't know, kind of thriller, horror, frequent monster-y type things, but no, it's actually kind of more action-y than I thought it would be and whatnot.
Yeah, very, very much action-based and a lot of fighting scenes rather than, like, creep you out with psychological or thriller or whatnot.
Oh, they did touch on that a little bit. With
a little bit.
Creepy,
but it's not like,
uncanny valley stuff, so it's
no cabin. It's not like a cabin in the woods kind of a horror thing.
No. Yeah, you can see it on Crunchyroll as you want. Again, it's 24 episodes long, so it's double length of normal anime, but not like ridiculously long.
Yeah. Unless you count how slow the pacing could be.
Yeah. There's also manga, which I don't know the quality of that, but apparently the anime cut out a lot, so I don't know.
Yep.
There might be something that like a lot of our complaints are addressed there just because like maybe Satomi actually has something to do. I don't know, maybe they actually explain the Parasyte thing better.
Maybe.
Who knows?
No idea.
Yeah, I guess that's the end of this discussion. Right.
Yep, I don't think I got anything else to add.
Yeah, there's not really, because the one note character set, they sure exist. I hope you found this enjoyable and all that stuff. And if you did, you can check out other episodes. They're on newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com. It's spelled Labsyn. If you want to check that out, just subscribe to the RSS feed there or not, or you can subscribe via other methods, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Podcasts, although again, the Google one apparently is going away, so because of course it is. There's that, all those things you subscribe to or search for us on New to Weeaboo on any of those services and find us that way, whatever you want to do. You could also email us newtoweeaboo@gmail.com if you have any questions or criticisms or suggestions or what have you. You can do that, or follow us on any of the social media. That's newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com/contact. And you can just click on any of those and follow us on the social media of your choice. And we also would be on there as well. It won't be hard to find us from our personal accounts from the New to Weeaboo accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it for this one. Join us next time. It'll be November at that point. And we'll be talking, about the new fall anime.
Get our sampler platter going.
We're going to get those. We're going to talk about a handful of those. So, we'll see you then. Hope you're bundling up, keeping yourself warm.
Yep, because the cold season.
Hope you have a good Halloween.
A spooky Halloween.
Yeah, because that's going to be right before our next episode, actually.
Yeah.
Because we'll be talking about, actually, we're releasing on All Saints Day, I guess.
Oh, yes.
The other part of the holiday people forget about because no one cares.
No one cares about All Saints.
There's no candy or spookiness anymore, so who cares?
Yep. Yep.
At that point, it's November, which means Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Or Mariah Carey on the radio.
Yep. Either we go to Thanksgiving or skip and go straight to Christmas.
There's no hope. So we'll talk about that stuff next time. So see you then.
See ya.